There are crap loads of you here. This is going to be amazing. Thank you so much for coming to the Walking Dead panel. We have a lot of stuff to get through and a lot of great people to talk to and a lot of surprises. So let's get it going. I would love to welcome to the stage right now, executive producer, creator of the Walking Dead comic, Mr. Robert Kirkman. Executive producer, oh wait, no, Robert, this is your panel. You're right next to me, Cupcake. Executive producer David Albert. Yep, just right there the whole time. Just awkward. Oh, you're really getting in there. You're really digging in there. Right on the hip. Yep, that's our baby you're rubbing. He's gonna have a good life. Special effects supervisor, co-executive producer, Mr. Greg Nicotero. Executive producer Gail Ann Hurd. And showrunner and executive producer Glenn Mazzara. Hey guys, welcome to Comic-Con. How you guys doing? Good. All right, Mr. Kirkman, let's start with you. Let's tell us everything that happens in season 3 in detail.
Well, we open on a scene of I can't tell you.
Damn it.
And then it quickly transitions into another scene of you'll just have to wait and see.
All right. I had the privilege of going to the set a few weeks ago. Managed to avoid most spoilers, but it really truly was unbelievable. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what you guys have built and what people can look forward to?
Yeah, we have a thing called a prison that is going to feature prominently. Yep. It's constructed by a very talented production designer named Grace Walker, who really transformed a studio into the prison that you're going to see, in the show, and it's pretty amazing.
It really is stunning. Like, it doesn't, just even seeing it in person, it does, like a lot of times you see a set and you'll go, oh, that looks like a backlot, but it actually looks like a prison, like what you guys built.
It doesn't look like a backlot.
No, it does not look like a backlot. And then David Albert, tell us, you're executive producer now, so do you want to tell us what your experience has been like this season?
Honestly, the comic book is something I've been working on with Robert for the last 10 years, and seeing this thing come to life and seeing it on the screen has been one of the greatest honors of my entire life.
Did it translate the way that you think it would from the page onto the screen, or did it completely exceed every expectation that you had in your head?
Honestly, it's one of those things where I had a vision in my head as to what it might look like, and everything that's come out has been pretty much been better than that. So the thing I've been loving, though, is honestly picking up at I feel like the pace really started to pick up at the end of season 2. Yeah. I feel like we're sort of putting our foot on the accelerator now. It's going to go even faster going down.
Yeah, I mean, there were a couple complainers at the beginning of season 2, like, why didn't you see more zombie stuff? And then Dave Navarro, and then by the end of it, oh yeah, he and I are going to go toe to toe. But I've done it now. But then by the end of season 2, to any even of the borderline naysayers, it was like, hey, why don't you suck it? There was a lot of zombie action, and the energy was so intense by the end of season 2. And I remember when we wrapped Talking Dead, and you were on that last episode, you go, I'm not even thinking about season 2 anymore. We're way into season 3, and it starts at the level that season 2 ended and does not stop.
That is very true.
Obviously, you couldn't have a zombie show without super realistic looking zombies, and that is courtesy of Mr. Greg Nicotero. So tell us just a little bit about, improvements, modifications, anything that you've seen that you wanted to, like, how are you constantly evolving the zombies and the makeup this season?
Well, every year, we watch the show, and
that's good.
Sort of refine and determine what we love about certain zombies and walkers and what we like. We always are changing the contact lenses, the dentures. A lot of times we'll put bald caps on guys, and in the episode that I did last year where Dale gets killed, we had a walker that was shirtless so you could see all the ribs, and so we're doing a lot more of that kind of stuff this year. We really want to sell that they're decomposing and emaciated and hungry, and there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
So we're into episode 6, and we've been pretty busy. It definitely sort of takes us, where we left off from 211, 212, and 213, where we start seeing more and more walkers and the farm gets overrun, and we're definitely maintaining that.
Well, obviously you guys also seem to be pretty cognizant of the fact that, as time moves on, these Walking Dead creatures are going to start decomposing.
Yeah.
And so it seems like you kind of have to up the detail as time goes on because of that alone.
Well, that's the plan, and the beauty of the show is we have a lot of prosthetics, and then there's some visual effects, and we're going to do some animatronic puppets and some stuff like that this season that we didn't really get a chance to do in the last 2 seasons. So, we're keeping the audience guessing. Every time you think you know how we did something, we're going to sort of throw something else at you. So, it's going to be great.
And you're directing as well? You're doing some directing?
I am. I just finished my first episode about a week and a half ago.
What is that like? Yeah, congratulations. How is that? How do you go from to having your normal job, which is already a big job, to taking on directing an episode?
Well, for me, you would sort of assume that shooting the zombie stuff would be second nature, and it is. It's important to me to make sure that the character stuff is grounded, and fortunately for me, my episode was written by Angela Kang, who's an amazing writer. So I had a lot of great stuff to do, and there's iconic moments from the graphic novel that appear in my episode. There's like 3 different things, which of course I can't tell you about, but you'll see. But it's exciting that I got a chance to sort of visualize those moments that were in the graphic novel. So it was challenging, and it's really 8 of the hardest days of my career, but the most rewarding. I mean, getting a chance to direct this cast and watch them turn into those characters on camera, it's amazing. It really is.
Gail, what about you? What's season 3 been like for you so far? Have you seen the show evolve since the beginning?
Well, I think it's kind of interesting when you think about it. Here we hire a production designer whose last name is Walker.
Yeah.
I think we're being taken over by The Walking Dead in the best possible way. But this season, it's been fantastic because we have not only a prison location, we're introducing Woodbury, and the characters that populate that. The kick-ass Michonne and the governor.
I mean, one of the questions we got asked the most on Talking Dead in the beginning is, when's Michonne coming? When's Michonne coming? When are we going to get to see the governor? And now we get to see that. I mean, the reveal. I watched the season finale the day that it aired, right before we shot our show, and I literally with the Michonne reveal, I was like, holy shit! I jumped off my couch. I was alone. It was really sad. But then the reveal of the prison too at the end was so genius. I really tell us, how true are you sticking to the comics with these characters, and what do you see in store for them in the next season?
Well, Michonne kicks ass with a katana sword in a way that I hope all of you watched The Talking Dead last weekend. If you did, you got to see a little of her katana wielding action.
Yeah, I buried it into the side of the prison by mistake because I got really excited.
We had to fix that.
Sorry.
You may not be invited back next season.
That's all right. Thank you, person.
The intensity level is incredible, we've got our cast inoculated now. The new people realize just what they're in for and the level that we expect, and they become just as passionate about The Walking Dead as the rest of us already are.
And you had an announcement that you were going to make for folks that, both of you together. Glenn Mazzara, executive producer, showrunner. When I talk to you, because obviously when you come on a show, people might be like, oh, he's got to seem super animated because he works on the show. But talking to you backstage, before we go on, you were genuinely excited about the stuff that you're doing, and I feel like you always want to tell me more than you're allowed to tell me.
I wish I could. I mean, I'm so excited about the show. I love the show. I love the people we work with. We have a great cast, great team of writers, producers. And I really think we're in the zone on this one. I feel like it's exciting, and we keep pushing each other, and can we do this, can we do that, and even just the zombie gags, I'll call Greg and say, you know, has this ever been done in a zombie movie before? Have we ever seen this? And he'll say, no. Okay, great, we're going with it. And it's just a lot of fun to write.
Torrid zombie love scene?
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
What? How? Because obviously anyone who's read the comics knows that there's some really terrible things that befall these people.
Yeah.
So how true can you stick to the depths of the horribleness that happens to these people? Is there some stuff you're like, oh well, yeah, well, maybe we can't do that on television, or is it pretty much like, you know, we're going to try this and hope that AMC lets it go through?
It's a couple of things. I think one, it's about staying true to the spirit of the comic book. You know, it's about staying raw, visceral. You know, bringing it every week. That's something we want to do. That's certainly true in the comic book every issue, and we have a lot of time to do it. We want to, you know, have these new characters and develop them and make sure that they're fully realized and have people invested. And then when you see incredible stuff happen to them, you know, it's scary and it hurts. And I think that's part of where we ended up at the end of last season, and that's what we're going to continue to do.
So obviously you have an announcement. I'm sure people want to know when. So
yeah, I would like to make an announcement that we are back Sunday, October 14th at 9 p.m.
That's just a few months. That's not that long. It feels like Comic-Con 2011 was like a week ago. So I think just waiting a few more months till October will be great. Was there anything else that you wanted to add to that?
Hopefully a lot of you are also from countries around the world. We've got fans in Fox International's 122 countries, 35 languages, and the new season will roll out starting the very next day, October 15th, and will have premiered throughout the rest of the world the rest of that week. So get ready for a lot of dead.
Dios míos, los zombies! I probably don't say it.
What country was that?
I don't know. One of them. But we also have right now, before we bring out the some very special people here that I know that you lined up to see, we have a very special clip, you guys. This is a first look, exclusive to you, in Hall H at Comic-Con, of The Walking Dead. Grimes, Andrew Lincoln! Lori Grimes, Sarah Wayne Callies! Daryl Dixon, Norman Reedus! Andrea Laurie Holden! Glenn Stephen Young! Maggie Lauren Cohan! Introducing as Michonne Denai Gurera! And as the Governor, David Morrissey! Oh my God, you guys, welcome! This is an enormous panel, but this is what this should be. Just in case you didn't know before, that guy didn't even need a microphone, just to tell you. Thank you! So, oh yeah, get a picture of that, Steve. Welcome, you guys. How are you doing? I mean, I don't know if people really understand, but the schedule of your shooting is insane, and you still managed to make it to Comic-Con. Andrew Lincoln, how are you feeling right now?
Well, I think I'm having an out-of-body experience at the moment. This is insane.
Yeah, it's about 6,500 people.
The shooting schedule is crazy, as always. It's hot, it's fierce, it's brutal, and we love it that way. You know, it's so good. Can I just say, it's so good to be back here again, and because and to see all you guys, you know, and it's amazing because without you guys, this show would not exist, and that's the bottom line. And so it kind of always, people are saying, "What's it like to be back at Comic-Con?" I said, "Well, it just feels like you kind of come home here as well." And just so you know, everybody is busting their guts to bring you the best season we've ever brought to you this year. And a big salute to the crew as well, because they are phenomenal and just as much an important member of this family.
I mean, even just last year, there were a lot of people.
I I love you very much as well.
That was very heartfelt.
Well, in a very real way, I love you as well. Not as much as my wife or children, but...
Thank you.
Can they quote you on that in the trailers? Guy at Comic-Con says, best show on TV, period.
Wait, can we get an exclamation point?
Like 9 exclamation points. I mean, this, being in Hall H and just sort of graduating, like, this is the biggest hall at the biggest con in the world, and you see the fans, and because most of the time you guys are working in a bubble. You're in Georgia, you don't get to see this kind of interaction, so, Sarah, how is it for you to come and see this?
It's wonderful. We, even though I know there are some of you who are mad at me. And that's cool. We'll talk about it later. Or we won't, whatever. We go and we promote this all over the place. I think we've probably been to, more territories than we can possibly count. But this is our only opportunity to interact with you guys. Everywhere else we go, we're talking to press and we're dealing with journalists, and that's fine, but here we get it from you guys, and you're honest and you're raw, and the feedback we get from you guys is incredible. It's also really humbling. I don't know if I can see the end of this.
It's amazing.
It doesn't end.
Thank you guys.
Turn the lights off, turn the lights off.
It just sort of blends into the horizon, like as far as you can see.
It's intimidating.
Hi to the stormtroopers at the back.
I always, especially in this panel, I always wonder, if that girl got infected and became a zombie, how quickly could Hall H just turn like that? How quickly would it spread? I'm sure there's a sim that you could run that would tell you the answer to that.
The apocalypse starts at Comic-Con.
Norman Reedus, Daryl Dixon, people,
Wow, it looks like Christmas in here. All these little camera phones.
Yeah.
Wow, thank you guys so much. We love each other in our job, and you guys rock. You know what I mean? So, thank you so much.
Norman, the ladies seem to be all up in your business.
Everybody loves a redneck. You know what I mean?
How are you seeing Daryl this season, and how have you seen him evolve? And is there anything that you could share, even as your sort of philosophical approach to the character in season 3, without giving anything away?
Well, I mean, he's a guy that's under the thumb of his big brother Merle, and you can imagine what that would be like. Out of that, being away from Merle, he's sort of finding himself needed and appreciated. And he's sort of making bonds with all these people, and he'd fight to the death for, this group of people. And I think it means a lot to him. Sophia meant a lot, and he's sort of finding his way. He's kind of growing up. I don't know. I love playing him. I keep finding new things about him all the time.
I love him so much. That's what the ladies are thinking right now.
Love you back.
Which nation? Oh, Geek Nation loves you. This is the freaking Geek Nation. What are you talking about? That's everybody. Laurie Holden, you're separated from the group now, so you have a whole separate thing that's going on. What is emotionally, what's Laurie going through at this point? I mean, what's Andrea going through? Laurie, I did the same thing to Steve Young. I called him Glenn on the show. I'm like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. I just watched I like your character.
Wait, I don't want to see that. At the end of season 2, I was saved by this wonderful woman, Michonne, played by the lovely Denai. It's a very different season for Andrea because she's separated from the group, and it's a wonderful journey actually, because she's met this alpha female, and they become very good friends, and they watch each other's back, and it's wonderful storytelling as they're battling the elements in this apocalyptic world.
And did you guys? We kind of chatted briefly. I was able to. You ran over while you were shooting and gave us like a couple minutes on Talking Dead. But you and Denai bonded. You said pretty quickly.
Yeah, Denai. She's wonderful, and we're goofy, and we make up songs, or shall I say I make up songs and sing them to her in between takes. And, you know, she's a wonderful addition to the cast, and we laugh and dance, and she's fantastic. And I think you are going to love her as Michonne.
Steven Yeun, what's up for Glenn this season? Is he gonna learn how to open his heart and accept the love he's always deserved? Like, I totally. It's so funny, you know. Glenn just seems like a guy like, this guy's never really had a girlfriend, and then this really hot girl is throwing himself at him. He's like, I don't know, man. Like, what?
I mean, he's got to, you know, he can't just like dive in. You got to play it right. You know what I mean? You got to.
No, you got to dive in.
The cards. You got to slow play the cards. With Glenn this season, it's going to be. It's really a blessing and an honor to play this part, because I get a very kind of, I think, identifiable arc of someone that starts off as a boy and he grows up into a man. And second season was kind of, first season was kind of showing that he had it in him. Second season was kind of realizing that for himself, that he had that in him. And then third season is kind of just manning up and doing what he's supposed to be doing. And it's a blast. I was just gonna say, what's funny is like all these questions that we're getting are so difficult for all of us to answer, at least for me, because we can't say anything. So we just like roundabout talk about things that we just say generic things, and I apologize in advance, but
I know you don't have to apologize. You could be reading like the ingredients to Bisquick, and these people would be jazzed. Like, they waited in line a long time. They just want to see you up close and possibly touch you a lot. But other than that,
flour, water. I don't know.
No. Glenn's really hesitant, but Steven's all in all the time. So, Lauren Cohan, what can you say? What do you think? What is Maggie going through after last season? You know, like she essentially declares her love for Glenn. She's going through all this stuff. Got a lot of family stuff, like not having a farm anymore. So where is she coming from, and where do you think she's headed?
I think Maggie's pretty lucky right now because she still has more family with her left than anybody else does, and I think that the priority for her is protecting her own. And I mean, we are now thrown into an absolutely insane world. Like, the farm was like a walk in the park compared to where we are now, and I think that that we've just kind of all become this one really tight family, and Maggie and Glenn certainly are super tight now, and but just as a team, I think it's really been about, I don't know, we kind of all read each other's minds and figure out what it's taken to make it still.
Well, I think, especially having come off the farm and you guys are out in the woods and you're doing tick checks every day at the end of shooting, it's like, oh, you're going indoors to prison. This must be really cushy now. And then Stephen was saying, no, it's, there's...
No, you know what sucks? Air conditioning. I actually never thought we'd say this, but the air conditioning is like, we're complaining about being cold sometimes. Like,
really?
Okay, just rewind a minute. Yeah.
Well, just for the prison though, just so people know, like what we thought, like toiling in the heat, we thought going indoors and shooting indoors was going to be a cakewalk, but I think all of us have like the black lung now, or something like that. We all have the black
lung.
We have like bubonic plague. It's great. So it's good.
Yeah.
I want to welcome Denai to the panel this year. I mean, this must be amazing for you. I mean, this must be amazing for you. Just give us a little glimpse of what your life has been like since we were able to announce that you had become this character that so many people were excited about seeing. What's your life like now?
It's completely different, needless to say. It's amazing. I mean, I've been able to learn how to use a katana sword, which is just really thrilling and insanely fun, and I've been embraced by the most phenomenal group of TV makers ever. So, I mean, I'm really having a great time right now. And just like working with these guys has been really phenomenal. It's really kind of life imitating art, as Laurie was talking about. Like, they just embrace me with so much love that
I had no choice but to really just open up and just feel warm and fuzzy all the time, regardless of the fact that I'm in an apocalyptic world.
Because everyone, I'm sure your job. I'm sure it's an exhausting day that everyone has. But I think when I think about you in particular, you're certainly one of the most physical characters because you're swinging a giant sword and you're kicking things in the face. So, like, what does the end of your day look like when you come back from work?
It's really all good. I mean, interestingly, I learned early on about the magic of going to this natural food store and getting all these really good, natural, health supplement things, like cherries. I don't know if everyone knows this, really good for the joints and the muscles. It's just cherries, but you have to eat a whole bucket, so they actually make them into a little pill. So, stuff like that have really been just helping me, feel really good at the end of the day. A couple times I'm like, are we done? Are we done? No, just a couple more, So, I mean, I actually have really been enjoying it. And then there's times I'll just, you crash and you crash hard. But it feels good at the end of the day, actually.
Now, I also want to welcome David Morrissey here, who's new to the cast. I kind of nerded out on you a little before. I was like, I loved when you were on Doctor Who. But David Morrissey, you're a phenomenal actor. What was it like to come into this sort of pre-existing? I mean, obviously, Woodbury is a little separate for the time being, I would imagine. But what does it feel like coming into this show that already has such an iconic place in pop culture?
Well, I came into the show as a fan. I love the show. I'd known Andy for a long time, so when it came on in the UK, I was really glued to it, and I just loved it. And when the opportunity came to work on it, I was very excited. I knew it had a great cast, and I knew it had great writing and great production values, but the thing that I can never prepare you for is walking on a set and finding that it also has a fantastic crew. And it's a great family down there. It works, the set works really, really well. And people want to be there, people want to go to work and work on this show, and to join that team has just been such a privilege for me. So it's a blast. I'm sitting here now in front of you lot. It's like, I keep pinching myself. It's like amazing, and it's great to be at Comic-Con. I've always wanted to come to Comic-Con. This is the first time, so to come for the first time and be sitting on the stage and answering questions about a show like this and being part of it, it's just a dream come true for me, so it's great.
It's a good way to lose your Comic-Con virginity, for sure. Have you noticed any major differences between, British productions, American productions? I mean, is the schedule, was it everything that you thought it would be, or were you just not mentally prepared for what this show would entail?
The heat.
Yeah.
In the UK, we don't really get the heat like you get in Georgia. It's a very different type of heat, but it's still great. The show is what gets you through the day, really. But it's the production values. We do shows in the UK as well. I mean, as you say, I was in Doctor Who, and that's a very well cared for show. It's very similar to this show in the fact that it's made by people who really love it. They love their show and they're very proud of it, and they should be, and quite rightly same here, So no, the only thing that's different for me is the heat.
Yeah, it's not like in the UK where it's like the fog rolled in, the Ripper struck again, or whatever happens there. But I know that, you're certainly a character that people have been so excited about, like both of you, Denai and David. And by the way, everyone should, oh good, you're already lined up. I don't tell people here. Before we get to audience questions, I do have one more question for Andrew, which is, where do you think Rick is at right now? I mean, Rick is a guy that in season 1, good guy, lawful good, you might say, and now his alignment has changed. So the lines of good and bad for him seem constantly blurred. So what is it that you think keeps Rick centered?
Well, I certainly think this season you meet him at a place where he's... sorry, I'm just trying to think this one through.
Bush your eyebrows.
Yeah, I'm just going to do that. Should I do that a bit more? Yeah. I think he is... I was reading a book. Has anybody read or seen The Road by Cormac McCarthy?
Yeah.
Great, right? And I'd saved reading that until now. And I think Rick is very much at that point. And it's interesting because the time scale in that book and this season, I think, is very similar. And he's been pushing people away all the way through Cormac McCarthy's book. He's going, go away, go away, go away, to protect his son. And in so doing, he loses his humanity. And I think that he's Rick has isolated himself from the group and in his marriage, and that's the way that he is protecting everybody. And I think that it's a really interesting place to start this season, because I think I'm currently going batshit crazy as well. Just the last few weeks I've been going really bananas, and which is great. And but I do think that the season is very much about him realizing that he does need other people to survive. So, do you think that answers your question?
Yeah, perfectly, because we had talked about on Talking Dead, you guys are calling it the Ricktatorship now, where he was like, all right, shut up and sit down, now we're doing things my way, or leave. So I think that's a great place to start from season 3. Let's take some audience questions, because I'm sure there are many, and I want to make sure we get to a few. Oh, a lady just appeared. What is your name and what is your question?
My name is Claudia. I'm from Brazil. I'm here on behalf of the Walking Dead Brazil website and Rafael, my friend. You are a hit in Brazil. We have more than 20,000 followers on Twitter. The show is massive there. Anyways, my question is for Andrew. If you have a chance to play any other role on the show, which one would that be?
That's a very interesting question. Well, I'm having a bromance at the moment with Norman Reedus. Make out. But Carl is a great character, and I think that it's. I just want to say this he is such a gifted actor, and the stuff that he is doing this season is going to blow your mind. He is so talented.
Chandler Riggs, yeah.
And Chandler Riggs, and we are so lucky to have this kid. He makes choices that are way beyond his years, and he's been doing some magnificent work. So I think his journey this season is something that I'm watching very, very carefully, and it's a thrill. So yeah, maybe Carl.
I think there's an interesting parallel between the actor Chandler Riggs and the character of Carl, in that you sort of really get the sense in both instances that, kids are so resilient and they will adapt to whatever situation they're drawn into, because it's just how we survive.
Yeah.
And it seems like he's doing that as an actor and as the role of Carl.
I totally agree, and he's having this oh my God, that's weird.
You.
That's rad. Whoa!
Hey.
Give me my hat back. Give me my hat. I miss my hat, by the way.
I borrowed it for like a minute, and then I just took a picture and then I put it down. I'm sorry if I sweated in it. What is your name? Rick Grimes?
I'm Carl, actually.
Are you serious?
Yeah, my name is Carl.
No, seriously.
Yeah.
Are you messing with us?
No, I'm dead serious.
All right, okay.
You can look me up on Facebook.
I probably won't do that.
I'm Lauren. Huge fan of the show. My question is for Mr. Lincoln and Miss Cohen. I'm wondering how you develop such convincing American Southern accents, since you're both Brits.
Jessica Drake.
Mm-hmm.
She's Andy and I both work with the same. Actually, David knows as well. We work with a really wonderful dialect coach, and we have Skype sessions every Sunday. It's kind of like church, and I think it's been about a few key exercises and then staying in it. Andy sets an amazing example. I mean, he's in his accent from the second he arrives until he leaves, and I think that's something I've learned is a really good way to go. And I don't know, the one thing you have to be careful of, when I first started, there are a lot of Teamsters involved and people in our crew that are from the South, and their accents are extremely strong. So when you actually first start practicing it, there's a danger of getting a real drawl, which is a complete exaggeration and not true to it at all.
If you just go sit in a Cracker Barrel for 4 hours, you'll pick it up real quick. How about you, Andrew? How did you adapt so well to the accent?
Yeah, I think that we're lucky that we filmed down in the South, and the character, the dialect is of that area, and it's just the rhythms. If you live and work around people that are in the same sort of ballpark dialect, it really, really helps. And in fact, I'm like a sponge. I just sort of absorb sort of inflection, and it's also, I just love living and working in America, and it's been, I start my coffee shop people. I just want to big them up because my character is built on caffeine and tension, and that's Aurora Coffee Shop in Atlanta. They wanted me to wear a t-shirt, but I didn't. Why am I talking about this? Oh yes, oh yeah. They don't hear this silly voice that I put on for Comic-Con. They only hear the real dialect. So.
Oh, that's cool. So you practice with it all day when you're.
Yeah, I just kind of stay in dialect.
Didn't they have to dial you back?
They did. Yeah, they said that. I think it was Gail who actually came up to me and said, "Andy, dial it in. We don't want to have to subtitle you." Because I think me and John in that opening car sequence, when we're talking in the car, we went a little rural. So.
A little bit rural. What did that sound like?
Watch the first episode and you'll see.
What is your name, sir? What's your question?
My name's Ryan, and I wanted to ask the producers and the writers, there's a lot that you guys get away with on TV, but how did you get away with Andrea grabbing Shane? That was like full frontal, she just went for it, and it was intense. I was like, what's going on?
First of all, it sounds like you were super way into it. How did you get that sweet Andrea on Shane action, man? She just got in there and worked it.
Hands. Hey, with the hands. We didn't show anything. You should have seen what we did that got cut.
That was that guy's only question. Woo! Hello.
Hi.
What's your name?
My name's Vanessa.
Hello, Vanessa.
Hi, and I'm a lady who loves sweaty rednecks.
Call me.
Oh, anytime. Norman, you're my favorite.
Oh, thanks for that.
Norman's not really a sweaty redneck, though. You know that, right? He's a guy.
No, I know.
Okay.
That makes it
You're just saying no matter what. Doesn't matter.
I'll take him.
Okay, good. Sure, done. I used to host a dating show. I know how this shit works.
Oh, great. Works for me. My question is for Robert. Are we ever gonna know the history of Daryl Dixon? I really appreciate that, so please.
I love you, by the way.
I will say, so here's the thing, the show doesn't necessarily like to look back. We don't like to go too far into flashback mode, but I will say there is a new game coming from Activision that features Daryl Dixon as a main character, and it's all about him and Merle in the early days of the apocalypse killing zombies.
You will get to get inside the head of the guy you love and control him. Thank you very much. Next question.
Hi.
Hi.
My name is Jessica, and I love Steven.
Thank you. Hi.
He's blushing. He just turned red. He's turning red.
Wait a minute. How old are you?
I'm 12.
Okay. All right. Back it up. Anyway, it is very respectable to meet you, young lady. What is your question?
My question is, if you're stuck in a real-life apocalypse, how do you think your chances of are surviving?
Me personally, or all of us?
I don't really care.
She's awesome.
Kids are honest.
This is the greatest question ever.
Can we get her on our show?
The chance of me surviving, I can be resourceful, but also I'm sometimes a little lazy, so it depends how it all works out. I think I answered this before, but if the situation calls that there are a lot of attractive women around and just me, I'll stay, but
in 6 years.
In a while, in a little while. I was gonna say scouting, but that's a terrible thing.
Yeah, no.
It's a terrible thing. And if not, if there's just a bunch of bros, we'll just maybe I'll just lay down and let one bite me. So.
I love that that is your plan. You're like, what a sausage party here, just eat my face. I'm gonna stick around for this. What a weirdo apocalypse plan. Well, yeah, I'll stick around. We're like, not if there's dudes.
This apocalypse. There's only dudes. It's perfect.
That's the weirdest answer I've heard. Thank you, poor scarred girl.
Thank you.
What is your name, sir?
My name is Richard, and I have a question for Robert. Daryl being such a popular character, would you ever consider him being a character in the comic book?
Never. No. I mean, it's I have the story in the comic book plotted out for quite a long time, and working something new in that is I'm just gonna say thank you for asking a question.
You can't say. I mean, without going into too much detail, but things. We've talked before about things that happened in the comic book, and I go, "Wow, did you? When did you think of that?" And you're like, "Oh, that was 2 years ago." Like you really mapped out the arc of the comics, way in advance.
Yeah, and I mean, I have a chance to change course and do different things every now and then, but for the most part, I'm working way ahead.
Yeah. All right. Hi. What's your name and what's your question?
Hi, my name's Madeline, and I'm also in love with Steven.
Whoa. Well, we know your demographic now, Steve. And we know that you should not be allowed at Legoland or any place.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna just throw you into the Twilight pit.
I love you too. Yeah, thank you very much. Man, I'm so red right now.
What is your question, young lady?
I was wondering who is most like the character in the show and who is the least like the character in the show.
Okay, yeah, really quickly if we go down, that's a good question. Let's start with Andrew.
Well, I look a lot like my character.
Sound just like him.
Sound not so good. And I don't know, I mean, I wish, I mean, this is the joy of being an actor. You get to play people that you would never really be. And I love Rick, and for all of his faults and all of his strengths. And I don't think I'm anything really like him. You should probably ask, my wife, TV wife.
Well, yeah, I mean, in the sense of me being not your wife, I would hope I'm pretty different from Lori in some significant ways. I imagine my husband and my real life daughter would prefer that I not be like her in some significant ways, and so with his best friend, I think...
Kill your best friend, kill your best friend. Why'd you kill your best friend? But you said what they were.
That was basically season 1 and 2. Well done. Well done, yeah.
Well, I don't think people hold you accountable for Lori's actions. I mean, but I think it is a tribute to the level of acting on the show where people really assign that stuff to you guys as actors. They're like, how could you do that? And you're like, I'm playing a part.
Oh yeah, I mean the number of people who've come up to me and been like, I can't believe you slept with your husband's best friend, and I've like got my daughter and I'm in the grocery store and I'm like, I'm Sarah. I play a homewrecker on TV.
Oh, can you introduce Stephen Yun to my 12-year-old daughter? Oh, come on. What about your character, Robert? How much do you feel like you have in common with Daryl?
Well, my son came to Georgia 2 weeks ago, and I took him fishing, and we didn't get a nibble for 5 hours. And somebody asked me, well, what do you use for bait? And I said, old bacon that was in the fridge, thinking that everybody loves bacon. So
yep, people and fish alike.
Yeah.
Everyone loves bacon.
I'm nothing like Daryl at all.
What about you, Laura?
Well, Andrea's changed a lot on her journey. I think now, today, I think I'm probably closest to Andrea, personally. Yeah, so it's close. Mind you, that could change at any moment because she's very mercurial. But,
Yeah. Well, they kind of have to be. I mean, just with the world they live in, they kind of have to be that sort of emotionally nimble, I guess. Steve, what about you? We've got you talked about that before.
Yeah, I mean, I think early on it was a reflection of Glenn was a reflection of kind of how I was younger. Kind of chip on the shoulder, wanting to prove himself, and thank you. I love you too.
How old are you?
Well, yeah, how old are you? Yeah. Let me see your ID.
Get used to that phrase.
I wasn't as popular with the younger ladies back then, so I don't think in that regard I'm so similar. I have no idea what's going on.
What about you, Lauren? What about you and Maggie? Do you see similarities?
Yeah, I think Maggie's kind of a romantic. That's what I have in common with her. And, my weapon skills are pretty amazing. And, yeah, and I like boys that usually attract 12-year-olds. Not true, that's a joke.
What about, I think this would be interesting for Denai and David, who just basically, you've just come in, well, now you spent a lot of time with these characters over the last several months, but how, do you feel anything of you in Michonne, Denai?
Yeah, I mean, well, sometimes I wish I was more like her. She's, so insanely sharp, and her instincts are just spot on in a way that is amazing. I think I think about it a lot sometimes, and I'm like, if I were in this realm, who would I become? And I think that's also the beauty of this show. Is, who would you become if you were in a realm this dire? And I think I hope I could become get as much dexterity as her, and get as smart and sharp as her. But I think definitely there's an aspect of me that I have a bit of a lioness in me, and she's all lioness. So it's really about accessing that lioness part of me and allowing that to really show.
I mean, obviously, if you're an actor and you're accessing emotions, there's some parts of you that you have to bring to the character because that's just how it works. And for David, what about for you and the Governor?
Yeah, I think if I was given half the chance, I probably would be like the Governor. Denai's right. I think we don't know who we are until we're challenged, and this is a very challenging world. We like to think of the best aspects of ourselves, but we don't know ourselves until we're really put into the fight, and these people are fighting, So what you want for yourself and you hope for yourself, and it doesn't necessarily mean to say that is the case when you get into the pit. So
it really was. Like, I could just listen to you talk about things and be like, whatever you say, I'm in. I don't care what it is. I think we have a very special announcement from Greg Nicotero.
Well, I actually went through the crowd earlier, and what we wanted to do is, I don't know, when you watch the show, what we give away every once in a while is an opportunity for someone to have their head cast, and my team turns them into a walker. So you get a bust made of you, and you come to my studio, we cast your head. So I was zipping through these 6,000 so people earlier, and saw a woman that I think would be fantastic, and her name is Lorena Gonzalez.
Where's Lorena Gonzalez? ¿Dónde está Lorena Gonzalez?
So she's right there. So she's gonna come. She is gonna come to the shop, and we're gonna make a zombie bust of her.
That's awesome! Congratulations, Lorena Gonzalez. Well done. I've just been told we have time for one more question, so let's go to that one more question.
Wow, that's serious. Okay, I have a quick shout out to Norman. You're so kind to your fans on Twitter, and it's so appreciated.
Oh, thanks, babe.
And my question is, why do you write the women on the show so scary? They creep up to the men saying, you should kill Shane, he thinks I'm his, or it's a dictatorship, take over. Why don't they ever do it themselves?
Oh, wait till you see this season.
Was that for Robert or for Norman?
For the writers with the women.
Oh, okay, because you were talking about Norman. You're like, Norman, how come you write the show? We're like, what? That's not how that works.
that's a great idea. Maybe they will.
See? The system works!
And you know, for what it's worth, I think, since you bring up a specific scene, I think Lori did everything she could to handle Shane. And she did everything she could to manage that situation. And she only brought it to Rick. She didn't tell him to kill him. She told him to watch his back. And she was right, because Shane tried to kill him. And the right man ended up winning that fight, because she warned her husband.
Oh,
That's my wife right there, ladies and gentlemen.
that's a good answer. I think that is a great way to end the discussion portion of this panel, but I feel like if you guys are up for it, we should just probably watch the trailer one more time before we end this. So we're going to watch the trailer one more time, and then we'll say goodbye. Coming up, please, huge hand, Robert Kirkman, Dave Albert, Greg Nicotero, Gail Ann Hurd, Glenn Mazzara, Sarah Wayne Felice, Norman Regis, Lori Holman, Stephen Young, Laura Cohen, Denai Guerrera, and David Morrissey. Thank you so much for coming out to Hall H, guys. See you soon. Enjoy your con.